Who was Jephthah? What is the sad story of Jephthah's daughter? And what are the important lessons that we could take away from this? Hi, this is Denver Jones with another episode of Scripture Thoughts. I thank you and I invite you to join me on this little journey that we have in the next few minutes, where we shall answer these three questions. Who was Jephthah? What was the sad story of Jephthah's daughter? And what are the important lessons that we can learn from it? Just changing my screen share. So here we have Jephthah. We meet Jephthah in the times of the judges of Israel. Jephthah's story is, you could say, a tragic one, and yet a wonderful one. It's a very interesting story. Do stay tuned and watch on. The first lesson we learn is your past does not have to determine your future. So as we learn of Jephthah, he was a Gileadite and he was the son of a harlot. He grew up to be a mighty man of valor, and because he was a son of a harlot, his brothers, when they grew up, they expelled him from home, saying, "You will have no inheritance with us because you are a son of a harlot." What happens going on is he left home and he went and he dwelt in the land of Tob. In the land of Tob, he gathered together people to himself. And what happens in the story is, as time went on, the king, the Amorites, came and made war against the Gileadites, which were Jephthah's people. Okay, so no matter what your past was, we will see that your future does not depend on your past. You do not have to be governed by your circumstances. Your value will shine forth. So when this crisis came upon his brothers, they called for Jephthah to come and help them to lead the battle against the enemy. And Jephthah sent out a message to the king of Ammon. He sent a message, reasoning with him. He asked, "What do I have to do with you? Why have you come to make war?" And the king sent a message saying that because we want to get back the land that you have taken, your ancestors have taken from us. And Jephthah told him the story. He told him that they had journeyed through the wilderness and they had requested permission from the king of Ammon to allow the people to pass through the land, but those people did not allow. The king did not allow because he did not trust these people. So they had to pass, and there was war, and they defeated all those people, and they took over the land. So this land was not taken by deceit or something. He tried to tell the king, "We have done nothing wrong. Our people have done nothing wrong. The land is now rightfully ours." And what happened to the other people, the other kings who stood up again in the past like this? They also had been subdued and the land taken because it was given to them. So the king did not hear, that the enemy king did not listen, but the king wanted to go ahead with war and defeat and take back what was earlier lost. So what we see is Jephthah, he was a mighty man of valor. He was moved, and he went and he made war. While he was going, he made a vow to God. He said that, "When I come back victorious from this battle, whatever comes out of my house door to meet me, whatever comes, I will offer it as a sacrifice to you, a burnt offering." And he went and he defeated these enemies, and he returned home. He returned home victorious. And then what happened is, sadly, his daughter came out to meet him first. And his daughter was the only child that he had. A sad story. So he was humbled. He said to his daughter, of course, here's the story. When he saw her, he rent his clothes and he said, "Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low. You are one of them that trouble me, for I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back." And she said unto him, "My father, if you have opened your mouth unto the Lord, do to me according to that which has proceeded out from your mouth. For as much as the Lord has taken vengeance for you out on your enemies, even the children of Ammon." What happened is she said to her father, "Let this thing be done for me. Let me have 2 months. Leave me alone for 2 months, that I may go up and down in the mountains and mourn for my virginity, me and my fellows." And he said, "Go." So what happened is she went along with her companions, and they mourned in the mountains for 2 months. And at the end of 2 months, she came back and he fulfilled his vow. It's a very touching story. And it goes on to say that this became a custom in Israel, that the daughters of Israel went out yearly to lament the daughter of Jephthah, the Gileadite, 4 days in a year. So this is a little story of Jephthah and his daughter. What are the takeaway? What is the takeaway? We can listen to stories, we can listen to history, we can study the life of people, but what is it that we take away? That is what determines the impact of our lives. You can make a child sit in school, sit in the classroom, listen hours together to the teacher, but learn nothing. Are you such a person? I hope not. So that's why we listen to the sad and touching story of Jephthah's daughter. And what are the lessons that we gain from this? Let us take a look at those. Number 1, your past does not have to determine your future. Very important. Your past does not have to determine your future. Jephthah, you see, was the son of a harlot, but that did not, he was even cast out and expelled from among his brothers, and yet he did not let that determine his future. He was a mighty man of valor. He went into the country and he gathered about people, he made a band of his followers, and then you see that your value will shine forth in the time of crisis. The same brothers of his, the same family members, half brothers you could say, who had expelled him, saying, "You will have no inheritance with us," they came and they called for him, and he said, "I will come on one condition. When I lead you in battle against the enemy, you should accept me back as your leader." And they promised, and they can fulfill their promise. What is the third takeaway? Try and settle disputes with reasoning. Do not take drastic measures, because people are people and we are intelligent beings. You can reason one with another. Try and understand reason. And as long as you can reason with someone, if they do not listen, then only look for further alternatives. The next takeaway we have here is, do not speak hastily. Jephthah went forth with power and might, and he spoke hastily. He spoke hastily. What is it that were the consequences? He had to sacrifice. He said it and he did it. That's important. Do not swear. Looking back on that, he made a vow. And what does the Psalm say of a righteous man? It says, "Lord, who shall abide in your tabernacle? Who shall dwell in your holy hill?" Your tabernacle, "He that walks uprightly and works righteousness, he that speaks truth in his heart, He that does not backbite with his tongue, neither does evil to his neighbor, nor takes up a reproach against his neighbor, in whose heart a wild person is contemned, but honors them that fear the Lord. He that swears to his own hurt and changes not. You see, Jephthah swore and was to his own hurt, and he did not change. So do not swear at all. But if you swear, do not go back on your word, even if it is adversely impacting you. Christ said, "But I say unto you, do not swear at all, neither by heaven, nor by things on the earth. Neither shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black by taking thought. But let your communication be yes, yes, or no, no. For whatsoever is more than these comes of evil." Be a person of your word. Do not be a stumbling block. You see that Jephthah made a promise. His daughter had nothing to do with the promise. Only thing is that she came out. She came out. And she was the first thing to come out and meet him with rejoicing, because he had returned victorious. And yet when she heard of the vow, she did not say, "Father, I cannot let you do this. Father, don't do this." This reminds me of another story, the story of Abraham. That story is in marked contrast with this. In that story, God was testing Abraham whether he would give his all. And when Abraham went and raised a knife to sacrifice his only son, there came a voice saying, "Stop, don't do it." And there was provision made for the sacrifice. In this story, however, Jephthah makes a vow and he fulfills it, even to his heart. Be a person of your word. Do not be a stumbling block. And always work on improving yourself, because your value will shine forth. It will shine through. Thanks for joining another episode of Scripture Thoughts. Do share your comments, do like, and subscribe for more. It was nice talking to you. Stay blessed until we meet again.